So back to a bit of local news. 3 Mile Island is going to be reopened. And hey, listen, you'll never guess why they're turning it back on. Reactor number 2.
What are we doing?
So basically, it's for real. And hey, you'll never guess who is turning it back on. It's our good friend, good pal, friend of the show, Bill Gates. And so Bill Gates needs some new nuclear energy for his enormous AI server farm, okay? Microsoft is real serious about AI, and they've got these new servers that need cooled down with really big fans. And what way to power those fans better than ever in 2024 is with some nuclear energy. And where is he going to get nuclear energy that isn't being used right now? The one nuclear reactor at 3 Mile Island that still technically could theoretically be turned back on and used.
What are we doing?
Constellation Energy Corporation announced its plan to restart Unit 1 nuclear reactor at 3 Mile Island as part of a purchase agreement with Microsoft on Friday, September 20th, exactly 5 years after 3 Mile Island shut down Unit 1. This week's announcement between Constellation and Microsoft shows that we can create good, paying, and union jobs, empower our nation's industry. Oh God, empower our industries of the future with clean, safe, affordable energy. We're proud that clean energy tax credits and President Biden and Vice President Harris's Inflation Reduction Act will help support this project and create good paying and union jobs in nuclear power in Pennsylvania. So of course, that's the positive spin we're trying to put on the whole thing. We're bringing jobs back to Central PA, and that's the silver lining.
What are we doing?
Microsoft's investment into 3 Mile Island is designed to contribute to its commitment to becoming carbon negative by 2030 and power the company's massive data center. The plans need to undergo government approval before the reactor opens, and I think that approval has already come through. Oh, God, let's listen to this guy talk about it, right? Jeez, dude. I mean,
obviously, a lot of people know 3 Mile Island because of the worst nuclear disaster in U.S. nuclear commercial history.
The worst nuclear disaster in commercial history was right here in central Pennsylvania.
What are we doing?
And for our parents, I'm sure they remember the day well. Most of us millennials weren't born yet / of age to really remember. The people close nearest by got affected the most, and I think it was probably one of the scariest times ever when a nuclear reactor explodes, because guess what? It's right over there, dude. I mean, I'm in New York City right now, but when I'm back home, it's right over there. It's like I can throw a rock and hit unit reactor number 1 and probably set it off, and we'll have another meltdown 2025 as soon as they turn it back on.
What are we doing?
So, but it's okay. It's okay. We're creating union jobs for the people, okay? It's gonna be okay. It's going to be fine. This guy's going to tell us everything's going to be okay.
Nuclear disaster in U.S. nuclear commercial history here in the United States. But this announcement today had absolutely nothing to do with the reactor that partially melted down. Instead, it has to do with the reactor that was online until 2019.
After 5 years of dormancy, Constellation Energy announced it's time to bring nuclear power back to 3 Mile Island.
Unit 1 here has a great legacy. 45 years this unit ran, stellar performance, reliability.
Constellation is promising $1.6 billion in major improvements and work at Reactor 1. Some believe that effort could bring thousands of direct and indirect jobs to the area.
We're looking at 700, 800, maybe 1,000 tradesmen here for the next couple years.
Some community members and watchdogs who remember the 1979 incident think there are public health and safety concerns.
Yeah, I'm
What
sure.
are we doing?
Let's go. I haven't even watched this yet, and let's predict the future right now. I'm sure We're probably in a second going to hear from one of the local residents and how excited they are. Let's hear what our neighbors have to say about them turning on the nuclear reactors. Like literally, here's the reactor, here's where their child plays. So as soon as something goes wrong, like it did back in the 70s, yeah, you know?
What are we doing?
I can't imagine the locals are thrilled.
That need to be addressed.
I am absolutely convinced that the governor and the legislature and the labor are full-throated in support of this.
Local leaders acknowledged a reserved reaction from some in the community, but also noted there are big boosts to tax revenue that could come with the restart.
They are very positively thinking about the reopening here, cognizant of a lot of our residents that have concerns, because we have people that are here since the accident and have real concerns about safety.
Now, a number of agencies will have to sign off on the plan that includes the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. In Londonderry Township, Tom Lehman, WGAL News.
Shame on you, Tom. You should have interviewed a local who was pissed.
What are we doing?
You should have interviewed someone who was pissed. That's what I was waiting for, but they kept referring to it. Of course, no one wanted to come online and actually admit it, but I mean, this is what's happening. This is where we're at. The Microsoft is partnering with a public, and hey, guess what? The whole thing, by the way, this whole thing is powering their AI servers. Their AI servers is what they need to run their new program. And in order to fill out all of the paperwork and all of the forms and the 5,000 pages of documentation that they need to turn on a nuclear reactor in 2024 that had been shut down for safety reasons in the past is like insurmountable. They used AI to fill out all of the paperwork.
What are we doing?
They didn't have to really do much of anything but feed their AI the questions and answers and everything that needed filled out. It filled it out, and then they went back through and just made sure it looked okay. And that's how we got here. We are turning on, let me say it one more time for anyone who hasn't been listening. We are turning on 3 Mile Island again after it exploded in the 70s. And we're turning it back on because Microsoft and Bill Gates need to power their AI server farms with clean nuclear energy instead of this nasty shit, I guess, that we're getting from PP&L. I don't know how it works.
What are we doing?
But essentially, we're turning them back on. And in order to get them back on, they use the AI they're going to use to power these Do you understand how insane this is? What reality are we in? We've shifted. At some point in time, do you see the shirt I'm wearing? This is how you know, like COVID or something nearby, maybe 2021. I don't know. I'm just saying at some point in time, we shifted realities, and I'm not really here for it anymore.
What are we doing?
But, you know what I mean? If we're going to survive the next apocalypse, the next COVID-19, the next nuclear reactor meltdown, because Lord knows turning this thing back on probably isn't the best idea, and we know that deep down.